This is Josh Holyfield, and welcome to another episode of Make America Swole Again. A no bullshit, no sugarcoating, snowflake-free podcast where I teach you how to step out of your comfort zone, stop dreaming, and start smashing your goals in fitness and in life. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is Josh Holyfield, and welcome back to another episode of Make America Swole Again, where I'm with you on this beautiful, fantastic, phenomenal, wonderful, and amazing Tuesday evening to hopefully provide you with some motivation, some inspiration, and some information so you can stay on track and reach your motherfucking goals. Thank you so much for tuning in. Just a heads up, my Facebook was hacked this week. So what does that mean? Basically what that means is that I woke up yesterday morning to an email that said I was requesting my password, and then another email that had a 6-digit code, and then another email that said a new email has been added to your Facebook account, and then another email that says your email has been removed from a Facebook account, and from there it was a wrap. So how they got access and how everything worked out, basically what happened was, I don't know how, because I had two-factor authentication turned on, which required text message, but they gained access to my Google account, requested the 6-digit code for Facebook, and because they had access to my Gmail, they were able to get into my Facebook, and then once they had control of my Facebook and my email, then they were basically able to reassign my Facebook account to a different email address and phone number combination. From that point forward, there's really no way to substantiate that I own the account. And anytime I try to reset the password, it would attempt to send the 6-digit code for confirmation to the new email. So at that point, I basically lost complete control of my Facebook profile. Why does that suck? The reason that sucks is because for two reasons. The first is because all of my business assets, my business profiles, my business account pages, my advertising accounts, my business manager, if you've used Facebook before, they're all tied to my profile. So you heard it, my advertising account. So then a couple hours later, I got an email that basically said, your ad has been approved. I'm like, okay, I don't even know how I'm getting this email, but here it is. My ad's been approved. And it was basically an ad where they were running to sell some foot massager thing for like, the budget on the ad was like tens of thousands of dollars per day. So once that ad was approved, I basically went to a position where next thing you know, I'm getting emails of purchase confirmations for my advertising account. And the way Facebook ads works is they basically draft $900 at a time. So you accrue a $900 balance, they draft that $900. You accrue a $900 balance, they draft that $900, and they continue to do that. That was connected through my PayPal, and so basically every $900 they spent, I'm getting an email from PayPal saying, hey, they spent $900 more. This happened like 5 or 6 times. No, wait, more. So 5 or 6 times before I realized what was going on, and I like made the connection, and I'm like, holy crap, they've already spent $5,000. Like, fuck. They had spent $30,000 before I was finally able to get into PayPal and get a hold of PayPal and let them know what was going on and block those transactions. And by that time, those transactions were already making their way to my bank. So now I have $900, like a fucking shit ton of them, right? Literally like 30 of them. And so, yeah, that was my day yesterday. And if you guys remember, going back like 6 months ago when I started doing more streaming on YouTube and pushing you guys to YouTube and trying to encourage you guys to go to YouTube, this is part of the reason, is Facebook doesn't give a fuck. And how do I know they don't give a fuck? Because I was literally on my phone chatting with Facebook support, trying to get this shit fixed, letting them know like, hey, they just pulled another $900. And the text message that I got was basically, we can't do anything for you. There's nothing we can do. There's no way we can help you get your account back. So they have a couple options. Basically, option A and B is go to this website, facebook.com/hacked, facebook.com/identify, one or the other. Type in your email address, and then it will prompt you to reset your password and go through that process. The problem with those is if your email has been changed, it puts you through a password reset loop where you say, I don't have access to that email address. And then it brings you back to another page that's like, okay, do you want to reset it using your email, or do you want to try another way? Try another way. It brings you right back to that same page. So it's literally, there's no other option other than to try to send the fucking code to the email address that they put on the account. So like, you're basically fucked. The only other option that they have is click the link in the email that they send, and basically, like when they send that email saying your email address has been changed, your email address has been removed, and then there's an option that say, if this wasn't you, click this button to secure your account. If you click that, it'll bring you to a page where it's like, okay, cool. We see that your page has been hacked. The only way that we can do anything is if you upload your ID. Like, okay, we're making progress, right? Like, now I can actually start demonstrating and showing these people, hey, this is me. Like, I'm putting it in my other camera here. And then they accept your ID. They go through the whole process of scanning it. And they're like, okay, it could be up to 48 hours before we can do anything. I'm like, bro, meanwhile, I'm in a situation where like my checking account is being fucking emptied. And not to mention the fact that when they started the ads on my business account, they also started ads on one of my clients' business accounts. So I'm running ads for a client for my digital marketing agency, and they're running ads on his. So I have to call my client, and I'm like, hey, check your ad account. Is there any ads that are running that aren't for us? Yeah, there is. They've already spent $3,500 today. What is this? My account was compromised. And so, dude, these guys ended up getting away with like $35,000 worth of advertising for their product. And Facebook has literally done nothing. By the way, when I realized that they had gained unauthorized access to my Gmail account, it took me not even 10 minutes to secure the account and get them out of it so that this wasn't a problem. Like, got everything set up, confirmed it was me, uploaded my ID, went through the whole process. Boom, okay, your account's back. It's yours. Meanwhile, Facebook is like, yeah, fuck you. Good luck getting your account back, shithead. We're going to sit here and literally know that they're emptying your bank account, and we can't do anything. And then I got an email from a fucking manager who's literally like, we can't do anything. Like, bro, you can do something. You just choose not to. Because the thing that Facebook should be doing is providing some degree of fucking customer support outside of, hey, we're going to hire these people from fucking India and third world countries to manage support channels. And if you need any degree of support that requires an IQ above 14, you're shit out of luck. We're not going to fucking help you. Fuck you. Enjoy your account. And by the way, thank you for all the money that you spent on advertising on our platform. Eat my balls, right? So do I agree with the way that Google has been shown to censor political content during elections? No. But we know that every fucking big tech did that. But I can tell you right now, Google at least has mechanisms in place where they can prevent you from your life being completely fucking ruined. And so then I went and I did like some research on Reddit and other like places to see if there was something that maybe I was missing that I could do to get the account back. And bro, there was stories that I found on Reddit, like not even over exaggerating, where this dude literally spent like years and years and years building a community on Facebook and building his Facebook page up and running ads and putting all of his eggs in the Facebook basket. And the same thing happened to him. His account was stolen and he never got his business back. And so he's literally writing on this forum, and I'm watching the comments where people are asking like, hey, whatever happened? And he's like, yeah, I told Facebook what happened, and this is like where we're at. I don't have any money to pay for rent, and I'm in a place right now where that was like my only means. And fucking like 5 comments later, this dude's talking about how he's like homeless now because now I don't know if he was over exaggerating, obviously, and I know that kind of sounds like it's way out there, but the context of the conversation this dude was having in this Reddit thread really honestly seemed like because of him losing his business on Facebook, he ended up losing his fucking house because he couldn't pay his bills. So why am I sitting here telling this story and talking to you guys about this tonight? And that's really what this conversation that I want to have with you guys tonight is about, is resilience. The lessons that I've kind of learned through this process. And I had some mechanisms in place. Obviously, I'm here streaming to you guys 2 days after the fucking incident, right? So like, we're not skipping a beat. But there's a lot of people who don't have that resilience, who don't have that mindset to be able to just continue to push on and drive. And that's what I want to spend some time talking about tonight, is the importance of resilience. But before I go into resilience and what that means and how it's important for us as men to have that skill, I believe it's a skill. First, I want to say is if you're a business owner and you're spending any money on advertising on Facebook, your presence exists on Facebook or Instagram, and you have anything to do with your business and your customers is reliant upon usage of the Facebook or Instagram meta platform, there are a couple things that it's absolutely imperative that you do, okay? And this is just me giving you some fucking off the top of my head advice of things that I've learned, is you need to have 2-factor authentication set up on the email account that you use to log into your primary personal Facebook page, okay? There's 2 options for 2-factor authentication. The first option is SMS, which is text message. Obviously the easiest, in my opinion, not the best. The second option is an app that you can get that's basically an authenticator app. And you set it up, you scan a QR code, it connects that authenticator app with your phone. So anytime that you want to access that account, you need the code that's in the authenticator. It's kind of like an RSA fob if you've ever used one of those. You should have both of those options set up on your account. They can't remove the authenticator because it's tied to the back end of your account. Like there's no way to turn that off once you've connected it with the account. So that basically gives you a back door into that account no matter what is the authenticator. Okay? It trumps your password. If you need to log into that account, you can always use the authenticator to log in no matter what. Okay? That's really, really important. And that exists for email. Excuse me, I got to put some contact solution in my eyes. They're kind of dry. And so that should be set up for your email as well as your Facebook profile. You can do both, okay? This is important that you do this, and I'm giving you this advice because literally this has costed me thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars and a lot of fucking headache and a lot of future business because I no longer have the reach on the Facebook profile that I had. I had over 20,000 followers that I had built up over a period of 2 years. It's gone. Nothing I can do, okay? So set up your 2-factor authentication. Ensure that you're using the Authenticator app. It's just an app that you download. It's called Authenticator. It's got like a gray background with a white circle. You'll see the icon, okay? The second thing that you need to do, and you may or may not be the person who's managing your Facebook Business Manager account, but you should have multiple admins that are assigned to it, and go into your Business Manager settings and make for absolute certain that 2-factor authentication is required for all of the people who have administrator access to any of your assets on Facebook. Okay, so have multiple admins, people that can get you back into your Business Manager if something happens, and have 2-factor authentication forced for anyone with access to your Business Manager. Those 2 things will help to prevent not just your account from being compromised, but also your business manager account from being compromised, which is also extremely important. Okay. Welcome in, Dave. Hope you're feeling better, man. So I just want to give you guys that perspective and those lessons that I had to apply and learn. Because, like I said, yesterday I literally spent all day working on this, trying to interact with Facebook. And by like 6 o'clock, I'm like, I can sit here and wait for a fucking email from these idiots, hoping that they're going to help me get my account back. Or I can just go to jujitsu class. Fuck it, let's go to jujitsu class. And that decision was the basically starting point for our podcast content and episode today. All right, so real quick before we get into the content for you guys, I got a few of you guys watching. Some of you guys are on the new Facebook page. So most of you guys are on YouTube. Do me a favor, if you're watching this, share this into either your Facebook profile or our Facebook Iron Forge Brotherhood Facebook group. Okay, one of those places. Let everybody know we're here, right? And I want to make sure that anybody who's here or who typically watches the podcast is going to get it, because I know not everybody over there is subscribed to me on YouTube. So just do me a favor, take a second, give this thing a share. So let's spend some time tonight, and I'll probably only be with you guys for another 20 minutes or so. Let's spend some time tonight talking about resilience. And so when you talk about resilience, what does that mean? Let me give you the definition real quick. I had it pulled up. The capacity to withstand or to recover quickly from difficulties. Toughness. Another definition is the ability of a substance or object to spring back into shape. Elasticity. And so last night I was sitting dealing with the stress, the uncertainty, the unknowingness, the headache, all of the fucking emotions that came with, oh my God, my identity was stolen. My entire business has been scooped up from underneath me. Something that I've invested years and years of my life building, it's gone. What do? This is what I use to pay my bills. This is what I use to feed my family. My bank account is being emptied. I'm completely powerless in preventing this. And I'm in this situation that really sucks. I don't know what I'm going to do to solve it. And there's a lot on the line. That, I think, for most people is a reasonable excuse to just kind of have a micro panic attack and want to just completely shut down and be like, fuck, dude, what am I going to do with an immense amount of anxiety? Here's what I did. I did a couple things, and these are kind of the three steps that I'm going to walk you through to help you to realize and overcome this feeling of just utter defeat, kind of like I just explained to you guys with the whole situation with Facebook. For some of you guys who are watching this, it may not seem like a big deal, like, oh, he lost his Facebook account. But then I explain, like, this is what I use to pay my bills, feed my family. Like, I need this. Or do I? And that's the key, is if I was building a business, then it wouldn't matter where that business goes, because the true impact that I'm creating and the problems that I'm solving for people and the relationships that we've built with those people, those things would all traverse. Sure, one of the ways that we primarily communicate and interact from a business to consumer standpoint is Facebook. But if I truly have a business and I'm not just a Facebook fucking nerd, then my business should be able to survive and flex and pivot to overcome this and have zero issue. It's a test. It's a test of integrity. It's a test of, do I have the skills? Do I have the skills that I need to navigate this process? How am I going to buckle under the pressure and the stress that comes with this? At the end of the day, I basically looked at it like this. I have employed all of the resources that are made available to me that I know of to their fullest capacity of their ability to solve my problem and it has not succeeded. As it stands right now, the only hope that I have to get this account back is for someone from Facebook to email me back in a response to me submitting my identification, my ID. Outside of that, there's nothing that I can do to further solve this issue. That's where I was. At that point in time, after I had gone through the options that they gave, I spoke with Facebook support, I spoke with the bank, I spoke with all of the people that I needed to talk to at least put a lid on the problem. And they gave me the options and the solutions that they could provide. At that point, it's out of my hands. Where does resilience come in here? If anybody here owns a business or has done anything challenging or new, you know that inevitably you are going to run across and run into obstacles. And it seems that the further along the path that you go towards building what it is that you're trying to build, the degree of the problem or the degree of the obstacle that you run into becomes greater and greater and greater. Now, why is that? The reason why that is very simple. Is because you're still facing all of the other problems that existed on that path previously. The only difference is you've created solutions to those problems. You've learned what you needed to learn. So now two things have happened. Number one, you're able to mitigate those problems from occurring in the future because you've been through them, so you know what to expect, right? Or number two, if you run into those problems, they're not really problems because you've created the processes, the SOPs, and you have the knowledge to just drive right over, past, or around those problems as if they didn't even exist. Part of what you do. So we have mitigation, and then in the event that the mitigation doesn't mitigate, then if we do have to solve that problem, we know exactly what to do. And it's built into our routine and the way we go about doing things. So really, it's not even a problem anyway. May add a couple seconds. And so as you go further down the line, you're going to face bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger problems. Case in point, this thing that occurred to me this week with Facebook getting my account stolen, I'll never face it again because I will always have the risk mitigation in place to prevent that from occurring. And if for whatever reason out of the blue it does, I already have a plan in place that I've employed to ensure that I can reclaim access to my account regardless of whether or not they get into it. And so now when it comes time for this thing to occur in my path again, it's a non-issue. How do I develop those skills where when I get knocked down, I look at it as a fucking opportunity to grow and get better and improve and change and adapt rather than doing what most people do, which is using that as an excuse to not continue to progress or to not continue to stay disciplined or continue on the path towards achieving the things that they want to achieve. How many times have you found yourself in a place where, oh, this shitty thing happened to me today? Now I can use this problem that's occurring, this obstacle that's occurring, to derail me from staying focused on the fucking things that are important, even though it had no bearing whatsoever. Like yesterday I was in a position where, yeah, my account was stolen. Yeah, my bank account was being emptied. Yeah, I was frustrated because I'm trying to have all these conversations with my bank, Facebook, PayPal, and all of these people involved, and I'm not getting the answers that I need. And so I'm in this situation where it's like, fuck, man, like this is completely out of my hands. What do? Here's what you do. You pick your fucking head up and you drive the fuck on. What can you control? What can you control? That's what you focus on. So again, the title of tonight's podcast is Resilience. The capacity to withstand or recover quickly from difficulties. Toughness. This thing happened. It sucks. What did I do? I'm here streaming to you and it's not even been fucking 24 hours. Here I am. Boom. What's up? I've got the new page up, guys. Boom. Hey, go drop it a follow. All right, let's get this fucking ball rolling. I've continued to make sales. I've continued to interact with customers and provide customer support. I brought on new clients this week. We're good. Facebook is a small piece of the pie. I have TikTok, I have Instagram, I have my email list, I have text messages. I can still communicate with you guys. We're not going to live and die by Facebook, my fucking Facebook profile. Is it an obstacle? Yeah. Does it suck? Absolutely. Am I disappointed that I've fucking invested who knows how much millions of dollars into spinning ads on Facebook and they fucking do this? Absolutely. Do they fucking care? Not at all. The reality is the only reason I spend money on Facebook ads is because they work. They make me money. They build this business. They grow. I'm not going to stop running them because that's how we grow one of the ways that we grow our business. So fuck it. Let's start implementing solutions. And so that's the other part of resilience that you have to understand. It's not just being tough and being willing to just sit there and get ran through by the goddamn prison block, right? And be like, I'm a fucking champion. No, dude, like being resilient is also about being able to be nimble, capable of pivoting and adjusting and calling audibles, right? That's where the other fucking part of this definition comes into play. Resilience, the ability of a substance or object to spring back into shape. Elasticity. It's resilient. It has the ability that no matter what environment you put it in, no matter what pressure you put upon it, no matter what hell you put it through, it's going to adjust, it's going to pivot, and then it's going to snap right back into fucking place. That's also part of being resilient. And so going back, again, how many times have you found yourself in a place where you had a distraction, obstacle, a challenge, a mental health crisis, a situation that was occurring in your life, the loss of a loved one or a family member, situation with work at your job, travel, distractions, obstacles, a relationship with your wife, the time that you're expected to spend with your kids, working late on a job site. The list goes on and on and on, and all the fucking things that come into your life and the distractions that are created, the obstacles that you find in your way. Most of you guys are in a place where you're using those obstacles as an excuse to not be where you want to be. It's so hard. I don't have enough time. I struggle with motivation. I'm not where I want to be, yet I'm continuing to allow those distractions, those obstacles, those challenges, those things that I should be applying solutions to from me creating the life that I want to create. Those things are never going to go away. And that's exactly why they always say you need to fall in love with the process and not the outcome. Because if you spend all of your time focused on the outcome, then you're going to be disappointed. Once you've gotten to that outcome, it's not what you wanted it to be. And most of the people who aren't focused on the process and instead focused on the outcome, most of the time don't ever make it to the outcome because they don't have the resilience that's necessary to get there. If I focus on the process, then I understand that these obstacles, these challenges, these things that I just got done explaining as far as this huge hiccup in my business is concerned are part of it. They're part of the process. They're part of what it takes to get where you want to go. And so for me to allow that thing that's giving me the skills that I need to progress so that I can go where I want to go, if I'm going to allow that thing to give me stress and anxiety and uncertainty and self-doubt and all these negative emotions, then my mind is not where it needs to be, and it's not looking at the situation from a perspective of creating solutions and from the perspective of creating lessons, gaining wisdom. You have to be resilient. You're going to go through life, and these things are inevitably going to fucking occur. And as you continue to get older, better, and you're more capable of solving bigger problems, the degree of the obstacle that you face is always going to get bigger. It's always going to be there. And it's funny if you guys go back and you read you read the preface of my book. That's what I opened my book with. You will never get a break. right? I know you may know of somebody, or maybe you might be somebody who's the I can never catch a break guy. Why does this always happen to me? Man, I have the worst luck. It doesn't seem like I can ever catch a break. The list goes on and on and on. Those are the worst fucking people to be around, because they're the ones who don't understand that all that is part of the process. You need those things to get better. And most people avoid those things. And they never get stronger. They never become more resilient. They don't build the skills that they need. They see no improvement, advancement, or I guess elevation in the quality of their life. And then what happens is they come to a place with their personal life, their social life, their intimate life, their relationships, and in their, business or job life, that they're not feeling fulfilled. They're struggling with negative emotions and struggling with mental health issues like depression and anxiety, and they're wondering why they're feeling that way. Well, the reason why you're feeling that way is because you're not creating mechanisms for advancement and growth in your life, because every time you're faced with the challenges that are necessary in order for you to gain that fulfillment, you avoid. You need to do hard shit. It's the hard shit that makes you hard. So think about this from the perspective of your children. And in my opinion, this is the biggest and most challenging part of being a parent. And just real quick to give you some context, I went through a tough, very difficult childhood, to say the least. You guys have heard some about it. If you've watched any of my stuff online, you know about it. If you read my book, you know about my life, okay? It sucked. And I found myself in this place where for most of my life, I was always asking that question: when am I going to get a break? But then I came to this realization, okay, and I lost my train of thought. But when I had kids, and then I was old enough to look back at my very challenging life, I realized that all of that trauma, all of that challenge, all of that hardship, all of that difficulty, all of that pain was what molded me into, and it took a long time for that mold to cure, but what molded me into and gave me the skills that I needed to be resilient, strong, capable, have mental fortitude, and successful in my life. Because there are people out there who don't fucking understand what hard is. They've been fed from a fucking silver spoon, right? And this is exactly where the concept of hard times create strong men create good times create weak men create hard times. This is a cycle that we go through. And I know that quote is used often, but it's a phenomenal example of where we are now. So going back, one of the most difficult conundrums or challenges that I have found as a person is, how can I create the conditions in my life where my children get the pain and the trauma that's necessary in order for them to learn the lessons they need to learn so that they can become the people they need to be and be successful in the world, without exposing them to the pain? Where does that balance exist? As a parent, as a man, I don't want my children to hurt. I don't want them to struggle and to suffer like I did. I don't want to see my children have to go through those pains. And I've pledged to myself that a lot of the things I went through, I will never allow my children to face those hardships. It was dark, very dark. And I couldn't live with myself if I brought my kids through what my parents put me through. And looking back, I don't know how my parents fucking lived with themselves. But at the same time, I'm appreciative of those things, because they gave me skills that brought me to where I am today. So as a parent, how do I pass the knowledge without passing the pain? And one of the answers that Braden gave is sports. While I partially agree, it's only a small part of the skills that I learned that came from sports. Like, big difference. I understand where you're going with that. Like, we need to give them something challenging where they're going to get fulfillment, force them to stick through it, get a sense of camaraderie and team building and skill development and all that stuff. It's important, but it's not the solution. I don't know what the solution is. I think sports is a great start, but I still have yet to come up with the answer. How do I pass the knowledge without the trauma? I don't know. My kids are growing up, and in my opinion, they are entitled. And that actually leads into the kind of closing piece of the podcast that I want to touch on. And John Dock fucking hit the nail on the head, of course, is hard times are coming regardless of your preparation. Build skills and a foundation that can't be moved. That goes back to the concept of resilience. I can't control those things. The only thing that I can do, and this is the most simplest way to navigate life, and it's going to make everything so much easier for you, is just the next right thing. I make one decision at a time, and I go through life responding instead of reacting. And if I can do that, where I respond based upon what the right thing is instead of my emotions, and I go through life making one decision at a time and just focus on making the next right decision, it simplifies everything. At the end of the day, the whole situation with Facebook and the ad account and my bank account and dealing with the fraud and going through all that process and hopefully getting all my money back, it sucks. But what can I do? Nothing. Other than what John said, build skills and a foundation that cannot be moved. So I was on the phone with one of our new clients yesterday. His name is Chuck. He just came on with us yesterday. And he's one of the guys who struggles with an immense amount of anxiety. And it was funny because we were doing our Zoom call, and we get to talking. And if you've done a call like this with me, you know that I'm very engaged. I want to know you. I want to get to know you. I'm paying attention to your body language. And I notice he's got this, he's kicking his leg. He's doing this while he's talking. And he's got this fidgety type movement. But he's talking to me just like I'm talking to you right now. And I knew right away, I'm like, damn, this dude is really struggling with some anxiety. And so after he was done talking about what he was talking about on the subject, part of that conversation, I asked him, how long have you been struggling with anxiety like that for? And he kind of looked at me, and he's like, I'm taking these pills for it. I also struggle with this, and this is kind of something that's happened since this event occurred in my life where I got divorced. And I'm like, okay, now we're getting down to it. And during that call, I gave him a couple of pieces of advice that I want to share with you guys that I have implemented that are hopefully going to help you overcome a state of depression and a state of anxiety. What I have found is, and I know that for those of you guys who've been following me for a long time, you've heard this before, the best and simplest way to overcome depression is to create challenge in your life. That's what it comes down to. You need to have adversity. And you need to have mechanisms for creating adversity in your life that you introduce intentionally, aka the gym, martial arts. I do jujitsu every day. Whatever hobby you have. And there needs to be measurable, attainable goals that are tangible associated with those things. Okay? That's important. Why is that so important? How many times have you found yourself in a place where you were actively working towards a goal that you had about something you were passionate about and you felt depressed? Depression comes from stagnance. If you're struggling with depression, I can almost guarantee you that you're also living in a world where you're not making progress in the things around you in your life. You're in a standstill. The best way to overcome depression, create adversity. Specifically, adversity around the things that are going to bring you closer to the goals or the outcomes that you want in your life. Okay? So that was the first piece of advice that I gave this new guy. As far as anxiety is concerned, my wife is the anxiety monster. By the way, real quick, let's just do a side note. This is my This is my dog, my new dog. She's my Great Dane. Her name is Cobia. And Cobia just went into heat, just finished her cycle. That's why you can see she's all attached to me tonight. Here in about a month or so, we're going to find out whether or not she got pregnant. And I can tell you, If you've ever done dog breeding before, dude, these dudes wouldn't even fucking come in the house. They're fucking so much. He got stuck to her probably like 4 or 5 times over the last 4 or 5 days. He really got it in there. It took him a while. It was his first time. My male dog, he's out back. But dude, he did a good job. He mounted her, he got in there. I had to help him once. So if you guys want or you're interested in Great Dane puppies, she's European. You can see she's a little bit more built. She's thicker, has more mastiff in her. Neo, he's a taller, linkier, skinnier type Dane. He's an American Great Dane. Both of them are AKC registered. And we're going to be hopefully having some puppies coming here pretty soon. So that's pretty exciting. I've personally never bred dogs. I love Great Danes. Beautiful animals. They're amazing. Most loyal, incredible dog I've ever had. Really, really excited to have her. She's the newest addition to the family. And then obviously we're going to have some puppies. So that's going to be cool. Hopefully we'll have puppies anyway. All right. So with that said, anxiety. Okay. My wife, she has struggled with anxiety a really long time. When her mom died a few years ago, right before we got together, she struggled with it even more. And that was actually before I met her. I think her mom died in like 2015. And we met in like 17. But dude, I could tell you right now, me having to kind of navigate working with somebody who struggles with that anxiety and kind of helping her through that, I've learned some skills. And one of the things that I always tell her when I can tell she's struggling with anxiety is I tell her to put on her seatbelt. And so what does that mean? Anxiety exists because you're focused in the future on the things that are beyond your control. What if this happens? What if this happens? What if this happens? These are things that you don't know if they're going to happen or not. And so you're living in this world of what ifs. And you're creating these imaginary scenarios about things that may or may not occur. And it's giving you a feeling of being uneasy, etc. This is why we say put on the seatbelt. Because when you have things that are outside of your control, the only thing that you can do when those things outside of your control impact your life is mitigate. I can go in my car and drive, be the perfect driver, follow all the laws, drive the speed limit, pay extra attention, be careful, the whole 9 yards, and be the best driver, and still find myself in a place where I'm in a fatal car accident because I can't control how other people on the road drive. So what do I do to mitigate that risk when I drive my car? Because every time I get in my car, that could happen. I wear my seatbelt. I obviously ensure that I follow proper protocol as far as driving is concerned. I check my mirrors. I check my shoulder, use my blinkers. I go the speed limit, etc. But I have mechanisms in place so that I can mitigate as much of that risk as possible. So not only am I doing these things like wearing my seatbelt, making sure that I'm driving, wearing my glasses, all that, but then if that actually does happen, I also have car insurance and other things in place to make sure that I'm not facing a financial loss, a medical loss associated to that, right? And like, this is obvious. We know, everybody knows that the reason you wear a seatbelt is in case you get into an accident. Everybody knows that the reason why you pay for car insurance is in case you get in an accident. If you're living in a world where you're struggling with the anxieties of things that are happening in your life, the reason why is because you haven't come up with a plan to mitigate the risk imposed by that variable. And so one of the things that I do to help my wife overcome her anxiety is, okay, what are you struggling with? I'm struggling with this. What if this happens? If this happens, here's our plan. Cool? Okay, let me get that thing out so that it's ready. A couple months ago, or last year, we went through hurricane season and she was worried. She's like, what if we lose power and blah, blah, blah. You're worried about us losing power. Okay, cool. Let me pull out the generator. I'm going to start it and I'm going to show you that this thing works and how it works. I have the fuel. We're good to go. This thing's ready to go. If we lose power, boom, generator's right here. Are you okay with that? How does that make you feel? Okay, cool. So now we've mitigated that. We've implemented a solution to reduce the impact of that outcome on our life. And so now that also mitigates the anxiety. So if you're struggling with anxiety, my advice to you is to implement a plan. How can I mitigate that risk and minimize its impact upon my life if that happens? And as long as you're realistic and consistent with ensuring that you're doing your risk analysis or risk assessment, then you can be focused more upon creating solutions than the problems. And so to cap this, before we call it a night, is the solution to every mental health condition that exists that's related to anxiety, depression, PTSD, whatever, is action. Move forward. If you're struggling with self-esteem, if you're struggling with self-worth, if you're struggling with confidence, if you're struggling with depression, if you're not sure what to do, you don't know where to start, your relationship is falling apart, your relationship with yourself is falling apart, and you're in a place where you're struggling with even knowing what to do, my first piece of advice for you to solve any of those things I just listed is to start moving. If you stay still, you're dead. If you're complacent, you're dead. Going somewhere is better than going nowhere. Then once you start moving, at least in the general direction of where you're trying to go, you can make optimizations, you can make adjustments, you can learn lessons from overcoming obstacles on that path. And eventually you come to a place where you earn the wisdom that comes with taking that journey. And you realize that when you started, you had no fucking clue what you were doing, where you were going, what the outcome was going to be, or how to do it. Yet here you are X number of years later and you're a master. And it started with what? One step. Don't ever stop. I can tell you right now that 99% of the men that we deal with in our community, in the Iron Forge, in the business that I deal with, the biggest thing that's causing issues with their success, their mental health, the stagnance or the quality of the relationship with their wife and their kids, their business, is the fact that they're not moving. Get up and go. Physically, literally, and figuratively. All right. Hey, so check it out real quick. I hope you guys enjoyed this stream tonight. It was really fun for me. Hopefully you're able to take the lessons away from my mistake and kind of what I went through with the whole Facebook situation and apply those to your life so it doesn't create as much of an issue for you. But we're still here. We're still moving. Fucking, they can take all of my social media down. It's not relevant. It's not. They can't fucking shut me up. It doesn't matter what they do. I'm still going to be here. I'm still going to be fucking interacting with you guys. And just a heads up, if for whatever reason you guys don't know this, all of the content, all of the videos, all of the posts that I put out, like the articles that you see on Facebook, like the long captions where I teach you guys, all of that can be found on my website. All of it. I post all of it. So the podcasts on the website, just go to joshholyfield.com. You'll see there's a blog called Free Guides. I put all of the content in there. There's a podcast blog where I put all the podcasts in there. Iron Forge blog, I put all the Iron Forges in there. It's all there. If for whatever reason you're not on social media, I make everything that I put out available to you guys through either joshholyfield.com or the Iron Forge. All of my guides, all of the Iron Forge group codes, we cut those into YouTube clips, right? Like I can show you. If you go on my YouTube channel, all of the guides and the questions that we have, every question that gets asked in our Iron Forge group coaching gets posted to YouTube, right? YouTube is the fucking repository, right? Like if I lost my YouTube, I would be really fucking upset. Facebook's no big deal. Let me see if I can find it real quick. What I was going to show you guys. Okay, here it is. My editor, he drops clips in here from all of our calls. So these are in queue. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I lost count. Like 15 videos that still haven't gone on to YouTube. And he's going to chop up and clip all the videos clips from this call tonight and the call from Thursday by next week. they'll be back on my page, on my Facebook, or excuse me, on my website. Okay? Don't sleep on the website, bro. Like everything that I offer, everything that I put out, all of the knowledge, all of the information, all of the training, all of that can be found right on joshholyfield.com. And while you're there, you can buy my book if you haven't already. All right. Hey, so real quick before we go, just one more request from you guys. I know I already asked you. If you haven't already, do me a favor and share the stream to your Facebook profile. That way we can start getting this page built back up. My only concern, and honestly the biggest reason why I care, is because I don't want people to look at my profile because it's only got like 15 followers and be like, oh, this guy's a scam. Or our existing customers seeing it, and maybe they didn't see one of the 50 fucking social media posts that was put out about it. Oh, this guy's not the real guy. So just do me a favor, make sure you're following this page, share it, get it out there. Let's try to get these follows back in business. Okay? So with all that said, I will be back on Thursday night right here with you for the Iron Forge group coaching. We're going to start streaming this motherfucker to YouTube too. Fuck it. Makes it easier for my editor. I'm to a point now where honestly, gentlemen, we're going to start giving more and more and more and more away for free. Facebook is, or excuse me, the programs and all that shit, like giving you guys that stuff away for free. What you're going to be paying for is my coaching. Okay. Fire teams and our one-on-one coaching. For context and last kind of announcement, we do have fire team slots open. The next 12-week iterations of Fire Teams opens on the 31st of July. That's when that class starts. We have 10 slots. I need you guys to join. If you're having trouble seeing progress, you want to make a change, and you need help, I can tell you right now, Fire Teams is the absolute best fucking $500 you'll ever spend. If you're interested in joining Fire Teams, send me a message, and I'll shoot you a 2-minute video that explains exactly how it works and what you can expect. If you like what you see, we can get you set up and get you on the team, okay? If you're interested in getting started with our one-on-one coaching, just a heads up, entry price for that is now $3,000. So we're no longer offering the $1,500 coaching option. $3K, 12 weeks, one-on-one with me or one of my coaches. That's how that works. If you want to get started with the one-on-one coaching, we can sit down and have a conversation about what that would look like for you, okay? I can tell you right now, of all the people who've signed up for our group coaching, which is Fire Teams, or a one-on-one coaching, they can all attest to you, and I can give you videos and video after video after video, that this shit is life-altering. It will change everything about your life forever. That's the best way to put it. Okay, so if that's something that you want to get started with, let me know. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me tonight. God bless. And I will see you Thursday for our Iron Forge group coaching call.